Green. Second touchdown of the young season. Keem Cato, everybody's talked about that arm of his. You saw it on full display there with the breeze as Boris Bede now 6 for 8 on point afters from the 32 this season. 5-play, 88-yard drive capped off beautifully to S.J. Green. And the Owls off to a big start here in Calgary. Lead here.
And on this one, you're going to see Nick Lewis is running the out. That's going to, in man coverage, force the safety, Josh Bell, to take him. That leaves S.J. Green straight down the seam. No help to the inside for the halfback, Brandon Smith. Cato spots it right away and puts it up. Lets his big receiver go get it.
So again, making some hay here are the Alouettes with the breeze. 4.5 to go in this first quarter. Calgary Stampeders, the defending champions in the CFL, have had rough starts to games. They've trailed after one quarter in 4 of the 5 games. Their lone lead was last week against Ottawa, and they still lost the game. Look at that boot. Practically out of the stadium. We've seen that before. We've seen that before.
Comes into this game averaging over 71 yards on kickoffs.
You and I were introduced to Boris Bede a few years ago covering CIS football when he played with the Laval Rouge or Vanier Cup when he was trying to, wasn't even trying, he was during practice hitting the score clock at BC Place Stadium, punting it there, and people thought, well, it could happen in the game. It could happen in a game with this guy, the way they're especially hanging punts up high. I'm not sure about this speaker here that they have at McMahon Stadium, but Boris Bede, rest assured, thunderous leg. Matt Walter is met with a handful of Alouettes up the middle, and Walter again, as he did last year, filling in for the injured John Cornish, and did an admirable job last season. Stamps went 7-2 without Cornish in the 9 games he missed.
Well, Matt Walter now in his 4th year with the Calgary Stampeders, originally drafted in 2011, a guy who's played all his football here in the city of Calgary from high school, university, all the way up. He's ready for this opportunity to be the go-to guy in the backfield.
2nd and 6. Mitchell hanging in and rocked. Is Eric Rogers. Mitchell White supplying the lick. Looked like Rogers had it in his grasp, and that hit knocked the football out.
Mitchell White sitting back on that corner just sniffed that one out. Coming off to help his halfback.
Rob Maver again, 3 straight punts now for the Calgary Stampeders. They show loads of motion here on this kick, and that one also almost blocked. 2 in a row now that Maver was able to get off. Now getting the corner is Logan. Steph Logan, he's not going to be caught. He'll fly. Goodbye. Touchdown to Steph Logan. What a start here for the Montreal Alouettes. All 3 phases right now, including special teams, and Steph Logan has his first touchdown as an Alouette, and a beauty.
Well, we've mentioned the punts being almost blocked a couple of times for the Stampeders, and part of what that's doing is you're going to see the Alouettes bring in all sorts of pressure, is that's going to help keep everyone in even longer in terms of their coverage. They're going to be a little bit late getting downfield. You give Steph Logan a half a step, very few people in this league are going to catch him, and you saw the head start he had there. Gets a couple of key blocks, and he's off to the races.
73 yards to pay dirt for Steph Logan. That's why they went out and got this guy. Guy who played in the National Football League, was with the BC Lions, came back to the Canadian Football League, and now is in Montreal. Spectacular run. Bede He's able to just squeeze that in.
Hey, my return team, baby. We'll do this. It's time for the 305, baby. Mom and dad, my baby, my kids back home. Love y'all, baby.
Hails from Tampa, Florida, and a bit of a nomad around the National Football League. A guy who has electric speed, and you saw it this time.
On this one again, all begins with the pressure up front. Nick Boulay and Brandon Rutley crashing that wall of personal protectors.
Just 5'6", 180. Steph Logan, who energized the BC Lions when he was with them, then went to the National Football League. Found his way back. Found his way to the end zone that time.
Logan won a number of key veteran parts brought in by the Montreal Alouettes during the offseason. We've mentioned Nick Lewis. We've talked about Fred Stamps. Logan, another one of those keys. Jonathan Hefney as well. Proven CFL performers coming in to give this team a lift.
Once again, it'll be a touchback because the Stamps don't touch it. Will not go as 1 point, so another one through the end zone for Boris Beatty. And now the Calgary Stampeders find themselves in a huge hole, down 17-0 with 2:46 to go in the first quarter. For Steph Logan, that is the first punt return touchdown he has ever recorded. It was with the BC Lions again back in 08, then 13 and 14. The 71-yarder gives the Owls a huge lead early on here. Almost a feeling of shock and dismay here from the Stampeder faithful. They can't believe it.
I think for so many who felt that the Alouettes win over Calgary and Montreal a few weeks ago, it's been a little bit of a case of beginner's luck for Rakeem Cato and the Montreal Alouettes. I think they're realizing just how competitive a team these Owls are.
Well, the Owls had a 16-0 lead back in week 2 and then went to victory. And now Bo Levi Mitchell and his Stampeders, again, notoriously slow starters in this early season. And also without their main weapon, John Cornish. Matt Walter is gobbled up. Gabriel Napton, Marc-Olivier Brouillette, and also Michael Clausen. So again, a second down and a throwing down for the Stampeders.
Stampeder team that on the offensive side of the ball has been hit so hard by injuries. Cornish just the latest, a team that's missing its 2 starting offensive tackles.
Bo is swarmed and sacked by Gabriel Napton. Bad to worse here for the Stampeders in this first quarter.
Napton, one of the top rookies in the Canadian Football League a year ago. He's just going to come from his traditional defensive end spot, only rushing 5. Just beating the man up. He's got that bull rush going on Spencer Wilson.
Calgary team that has fallen victim to 13 sacks already. They usually lead the CFL in sacks allowed, protecting their quarterback, but right now they are near the bottom of the CFL, and that thin offensive line right now because of injury. Can he do it again? Not this time. 46-yard kick they get to Steph Logan. Well, week 6 in the CFL will continue on Monday, Holiday Monday in Ontario. The Argonauts and Tiger Cats Battle of Ontario. 2 teams finally get home. And the first home game for the Ticats at Tim Hortons Field, which apparently is SRO, sold right out.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Montreal number 35 after the play. 15 yards, first down.
On that center stripe, first round pick Chris Aki of the Alouettes charged with that late hit.
First penalty flag of this game comes with just a minute to go in the opening frame. It's been all Alouettes. Cato, on his 36, is going to throw again. Is going deep again, and actually is finally brought down by Charleston Hughes. Looked to go long, and then Hughes was right there, the sack leader in the Canadian Football League.
Fourth in the last 2 games for Charleston. Hughes came in tied for the lead. You see him right on the end of the line. Tied for the league lead with 5 coming into today's action.
Cato had Dobson Collins on a fly pattern, couldn't get it. Here comes Hughes again. They decide to delay the draw. Terrell Sutton will bash past the initial line of scrimmage. 10-yard gain, but won't be good enough to move the sticks, and so Boris Beatty will have to come out and boot this away. Final play, barring penalty, of an Alouette-filled first quarter here in Calgary. Can another former BC Lion answer here? Tim Brown loses it. Look at this ball, down near the 1, finally into the end zone for a single point. 71-yard kick from Boris Beatty, but got a huge bounce there as well. 18-0 Alouettes. Nick Lewis's return. Nick hasn't done much yet, but his teammates have in so many ways. Huge Alouette first quarter here in Calgary. Crew yesterday, we did a little skyline luging. Last week we were tandem bicycling to the park. We thought we'd do something a little different this week.
Yeah, looking to mix things up a little bit. Any mode of transportation, planes, trains, automobiles, clearly not enough for us.
Or perhaps even zip lining.
Not too many guys, not too many dorks in suits on this thing.
Yeah, there we were. Getting a chance to zip line off the old ski jump here, Canada's Olympic Park. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and then there you were, blasting by.
Yeah, you notice
always
I
have
won,
to be
right?
Always have to be first, don't you?
Well,
that was a lot of fun. Visit Winsport, visit Canada's Olympic Park when you come to Calgary. What a lot of. This is how we got. This is how we got to the booth for today's.
Yeah, not quite. Not quite.
We should tell you, back to football.
Yes.
That last punt that went into the end zone for the single point has been taken away because there were too many men on the field, and so they're going to make the Montreal Alouettes punt again.
Yeah, and a good start to this game, obviously, for the Montreal Alouettes. We talked a lot about what their game plan was the first time they faced Calgary. Rakeem Cato's first career CFL start. A very conservative approach. A lot of runs, a lot of high percentage passes in that game. We've seen the Alouettes here in a game where Cato has seen the Stamps defense before, Stamps defense has seen him before, and he's certainly looking a little bit more aggressive.
You didn't sweat too much on that zip line, but that's always has to be first. Now Tim Brown will gather this in. Going to be much better this time for the Stampeders. Much better this time, and a penalty flag down though. We'll have to see what the call is. If it negates a 22-yard return by Tim Brown, still a lot better than that last kick and giving up the single point. So let's see what happens to the Stampeders as we begin the second quarter. Calgary trailing 17-0.
On the return, illegal block. Calgary number 24. 10-yard penalty. The quarter be extended one more play. First down.
So indeed, again, it's not the beginning of the second quarter quite yet. They still are playing the final play of this first quarter when it will end. Cannot end on a penalty as Stamps will line up. Clock's at 0. Four receivers right. And there's Fuller. Open space. Jeff Fuller is dragged down. First down. No penalty flag down, so that indeed is the final play of this first quarter. 23-yard pickup, biggest play offensively for the Stampeders inside Montreal territory.
And the Stamps are going to go quads to the field. That leaves Jeff Fuller as the solo receiver into the boundary. You got man coverage. He's got half the field to get open, plenty of space. Working one-on-one against the corner, Jonathan Hefney. Nice quick hitter. Let the big fella run to move those chains.
Only the second first down. So the teams change sides now, and we begin officially the second quarter. Bo Levi Mitchell and the Stampeders shut out in that opening frame. Talked about it yesterday, how the bullseye is on the Calgary Stampeders this year, and Bo had heard from John Hufnagel, said, hey, everybody goes after the champs. Be ready.
Yeah, and there's no question about that. Defending champions, a team that most had projected to repeat in the preseason prognostications. But it is a much closer CFL from top to bottom this year. Every game is going to be a battle.
Play action. There's Rogers. Eric Rogers hit first by Winston Venable. Looks close to a first down, and he'll reset the downs for the Stampeders. Yeah, they were early season predictions that said that they would be on the top of the CFL, but nobody can predict injuries as Rogers takes this for a first down.
The Stampeders looking for different ways to get the ball into the hands of Mr. Rogers, a guy who has been one of the busiest receivers in terms of both targets and catches in the early portion of the 2015 season.
Torrey Harrison in the backfield will hang in for blocking help. Mitchell now to the end zone and making the catch.
Greg Wilson.
Greg Wilson, the rookie, has his first as a Calgary Stampeder. Wilson comes in for the injured Joe West. Former star at Fordham, had a great preseason. And Bo Mitchell found him behind cover.
Well, Wilson is a guy that they've been anxious to get into the lineup. As you mentioned, Rod, such an impressive preseason. Great from day one of training camp. 6'2" receiver out of Fordham, a guy who ran 4.3 40-yard dashes when worked out by the team.
Drew Tate behind center. He's going to throw it. And it's a touchdown, the first of the season for Markway McDaniel. Will they go for two? They've been perfect all season, going for two. An impressive drive. 4 first down passes on this drive from the Stampeders results in a touchdown.
Well, they made this one look easy. Big catch by Greg Wilson. Set things up. An easy bit of pitch and catch there between quarterback Drew Tate and Markway McDaniel.
So they will not go for two. They do have that breeze behind them. So Rene Paredes is coming out here. Ball scrimmaged again this season for point afters from the 25-yard line, making it a 32-yard point after for the convert. Paredes 3 of 5, and this one is good. Make it 4 of 6 on point afters this season. So the Stampeders are on the board, and they bounce back in a big way. Bo Levi Mitchell leads the drive, and Drew Tate finishes it off to the guy they call Quay. Major score.
On Billy Parker, the halfback has McDaniel man-to-man on this play, but you'll see as McDaniel motions back and forth across the formation, basically loses Parker on that change of direction. Tough for the halfback to catch up in that short span.
The Stampeders
Everybody back home of the team, man. Gotta keep plugging away.
get on the board. They keep plugging away. Steph Logan is going to try to see if this bounces right out of the end zone, and we might see a little more of that as the ball again sails through, and no point given up because Steph Logan did not touch that. Boy, an eventful game already, and the Stampeders have their crowd back into this as well.
A quick strike response here. We'll see what the Alouettes have in store. Rakeem Cato 6 of 7 thus far in this game. Completed 80% of his passes in that week 2 victory over the Stampeders. So following a similar path here thus far tonight.
Well, the wind has been so far the X factor because all the points have been scored. Going from left to right on your screen. From north to south here, the wind. Cato play action. And to try to drop it in to Samuel Giguère. That was a dangerous toss. As the Stampeders came out gunning with their secondary. Well, let's go back to week 2. Joaquin Cato's debut as an Alouette. An impressive one. 20 of 25, 3 TDs. As the Owls took it to the Stamps.
Joaquin Cato has demonstrated early in his career that he's just one of those guys for whom the stage just never seems too big.
He's 23 years old. He's in trouble though. Or maybe not. Escapes. Cato now. Another move. Look at this. Joaquin Cato steps out of bounds. This is why Jim Pop, Tom Higgins, and the rest of the Alouettes brass loved him. He got 2. They're going to have to kick, but this absolutely avoided a sack.
Well, we knew this was a part of Cato's game, but not a part we had seen a lot of during his short time here in the Canadian Football League. Under that sort of pressure to actually be able to turn it into a positive play.
Boris Beatty, the ball floats in the air and bounces out of bounds. Good field position again. Stampeders with the breeze behind them. Bo Levi Mitchell, 3 big passes on first down in that last drive. Needs more of that here. His team down, but certainly not out. Lots of football left Saturday night in Calgary.